This conference will now be recorded.
Good deal. Okay. Then we'll move over. Do we have a agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we'll vote. Monahan,
Yeah.
Brenneman,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lanzer,
Yes.
and Keel.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from 4/21/2020?
So move. Yep. Second.
All right, we'll vote. Monahan,
Yeah.
Brenneman,
Yeah.
Jones,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Lanzer,
Yes.
and Keel. I don't know if I heard you there, Keel. Did you say yes?
Yep. Yes.
All right. All right, anybody on the line who would like to provide any public input on non-agenda items?
Jeremy, this is Chris Tushin. I would like to just a short request or question, if that's okay.
You bet. You can sure put it on there. We can't take action, but we got a few minutes to hear your question or request.
Okay, it's real simple, and I don't know what the legalities or anything like that are, but and I know we discussed it briefly on Saturday. But my question is around open container allowances, specifically on city sidewalks in the central business district. So with the, as everybody's probably aware, we're working on reopening this week. I know the South Bar is working on reopening at some point in the near future. I don't know what 120 North Main Events' plans are, but we're going to try and encourage as much outdoor seating as possible, which leaves us our patio or our back lot. And so the question is there a possibility of temporary modification of the ordinance to allow us to utilize the city sidewalk for seating and therefore obviously drinking, as well as the South Bar and 120 also? I'm sure they would, if it's in their plan, they'd appreciate it. So.
Is there anybody on who's a little more versed on this than I am as far as what that takes? Probably Teresa, but anybody else who wants to chime in?
Mr. Mayor, this is Tom Freeberg.
Hey, Tom. Didn't know you were down there. Yep. Go right ahead.
I'm on by phone, but not by computer, so I apologize. That probably would require a modification of the ordinance. That would be within the public right-of-way, which would not be part of the premises. But that, if the council was desirous of doing that, that could be modified.
This conference will now be recorded.
That's just what I was going to say, Jeremy, that state law, to have open containers out in public places, it's in our ordinance. So you'd have to modify our ordinance to allow that.
All right, we got some microphones that aren't on mute, and I think we're getting some feedback out there. So, okay, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the input on that and the suggestion, Chris. I think best thing you could do at this point is between now and the next meeting, if that's something you're interested in, talk with a council member. You can talk with me and see what the appetite is for having something like that done and put out there on the agenda for next time.
Will do. Thank you.
Hey, Jeremy, can I ask, Jeremy, I have a question around that. Is that anything that could be handled with a special permit in the short term?
I believe special permits can only be, we can only allow up to 3 days, if I'm right. I think
Okay.
that sticks in my mind, Karen, but, so, you'd have to go 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, it would be,
Okay, I wasn't sure. I decided to ask.
And we can do a little more checking with the state, me and Karen, to see exactly what the laws are on that and see what we need to do before the next meeting.
Perfect. That sounds good. All right, good dialogue. Thank you. Any others with public input or public? Okay, I'm going to give one that I probably could share in correspondence or here. Had an email that came in. It's from, we all mostly know her. It's from Gabby Hoying with the chamber. I think she was mostly writing this as just as a resident, though, not necessarily as a chamber president. But what she wanted to put public input on is that she had a little input on the city park bathroom. So I'll just try to read this mostly word for word here. Please open the park bathrooms. I think it's super important that people have the opportunity to practice good hygiene while at the parks or on a walk, and while limiting people's opportunity to do so by closing. We are limiting the people's opportunity to do so by closing the bathrooms. I know there was some concern about not disinfecting it frequently enough, but Walmart, Target, Hy-Vee all have their bathrooms open, and who knows when they disinfect those. If the city feels that there is some sort of liability for not disinfecting them, post a sign that says, use at your own risk, only cleaned once a week. A lot of people that use the park have small children and in an emergency may be forced to have their child use nature as their bathroom, which I do not think is good for public health. Also, there are runners, bikers, and walkers on the nature path that also may need to use a restroom. As a mother with small children that are going a little crazy with everything being closed and nowhere to go, I pray that the city considers opening the pool for the summer. It sounds as if Wildwater West will be opening at the end of the month. Can we keep a pulse on what they are doing to maintain safety of customers? The Hartford pool is much smaller, so I feel it'd be easier to keep it sanitized than a place like Wildwater West. We frequented the pool a lot last summer, and overall it was clean. It's not overcrowded and families may congregate in one area, but people are generally spread out. Just my 2 cents from a citizen of Hartford. Thank you, Gabby. So, public input from Gabby on that. And I think we've got a COVID update here later on the agenda, so we may talk about some of those items too. So, all right, any other public input or comment? All right, if not, we will move down to visitors. We've got, we should have Leah Johnson with the Jamboree Days update.
Yep. Hi, guys. Just to let you guys know, if you don't already know, obviously we've decided to not go forward with the full Jamboree Day event as we normally do, just due to the COVID-19 and not putting anybody's health at risk. That, I mean, we look out for our community first before, pulling people together. So the committee had made a decision at our last meeting to go ahead and cancel it. Some of the ideas that we did throw out there, however, we are looking at potentially maybe that Saturday that would normally be our event. We were considered, or somebody brought up to do something similar to like what the teachers did with like a car parade. We will meet the first part of June with a meeting to just kind of see if that's something we want to do. I've actually been reached out by a few different places or people within the community that would be interested in joining us. Obviously, we wouldn't do a small parade lineup like we did before where it's just down to 3 streets. We try to hit more streets to try to keep people in front of their houses and not in a group or a crowd alongside the street in just one particular area. So we are looking at potentially doing something like that just to kind of bring a little hope to the town. I know everybody, like what Gabby said, everybody's getting kind of cooped up. They just want to kind of get out. We also said we'd monitor how the summer goes, and if we can get past the worst of it and feel that it's a safe environment, time to come out later in the year, potentially late summer, early fall. We even thought maybe if we could pull it off, we'd try to do maybe a one-day event, which would be maybe a car show / street dance type of event. Again, that's a possibility. It's not a for sure thing. Based off of that, you'll notice that Jamboree Days, I have not come to you guys or requested any of the appropriations that we had for funding. I don't think it's right for us to even ask for anything because obviously we've stopped planning. We do have a few deposits that are out, but a lot of those groups have been really good about saying, you know, the deposits you put down this year, we'll just carry it over for next year. Completely understanding where we're at. So at this point, we would not obviously be asking for the 2020 appropriations. If we can pull something together and if we need it, we may come to you, but at this point, that's totally up in the air based off of our local community and where we sit. So I just wanted to give you guys an update. I know Craig had mentioned already to you guys that it was canceled, but I just wanted to come to you guys and also kind of let you know where the committee was at and just to kind of touch base with you guys so you know where I stand. Any questions?
Kind of waiting around to see if others got questions. Thank you, Leah. That's a good update. And I know it's just such an ever-changing thing. When you came down to making a decision on that, you had to make a call, and most of the other area communities have as well. So I'm glad you're still got an open mind to be thinking about something different down the road, or if we can do something later in the summer, that'd be awesome. So.
And we'll keep you posted. I mean, as things develop and if any decisions are made, we'll definitely let you guys know what we're planning, because obviously if we do some sort of a car parade, the more people we can get involved, the better. I think put your own car in there, make a sign. We won't have an official registration. We'll probably put something out there that just says at such and such a time on this Saturday, we're all meeting in the parking lot and we're going to lead her off at this time. And I know we've also discussed potentially having, still the fire department lead us with a truck, and the way it sounds that would still be able to happen if we did move forward with it. If anything, it would potentially, give everybody a reason to come out and celebrate Hartford, because as we all know that we've lived here long enough, it's a great community and we all want to support each other.
I agree. Thank you. Any questions for Leah? All right, thanks for the work you're doing.
Real quick, just if you could relay to the committee, thank you for your efforts since October. Much appreciated, and keep the faith, okay?
Thanks, will do.
All right, perfect. All right, we'll move down to the Sheriff Deputy's report. If we've got Deputy Ryan on. Okay. Not hearing anything there. So if you are on, Deputy Ryan, check your mute. Okay. If not, we'll move over to Mitch. I see Mitch on with Stockwell Engineers report.
Yep. Can everybody hear me? Are you guys hearing me? Yeah? Oh, yeah. Short report tonight. You know, the only action item we have is we have the plans for the Opal and Rood intersection are complete and ready to bid. We have a item on there tonight to approve advertisement of them. We've scheduled a bid date of May 27th at City Hall at 2 o'clock. Budget, we're estimating the project to be around $155,000. So we'll get that out on the street to contractors, get them looking at it, and see what we get on May 27th, I guess. Any questions? Okay, well, I guess we're looking for a motion to go ahead and advertise that project.
Make a motion to release that project for bid.
Second.
All right, discussion.
Are we planning on paying for that, Teresa?
We had put this in budget already, so it's in our budget figures. We put 180,000. It's coming out general.
All right, any further discussion? Now we'll vote. Start with Nelson.
Yes.
Monahan.
Yes.
Brenneman.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Lanzer.
Yes.
And Keel.
Yes.
All right, any other items to discuss with Mitch? Mitch, any other things you want to go through or other pieces of your report? Or question?
No, I didn't have anything specific, Mayor. Just to give you an update on the sewer project, I was expecting to have some markups on our easements last week, so I haven't received those. So I've been talking to Teresa about trying to engage maybe the city attorney a little bit with those guys. That's really kind of our biggest thing right now is trying to get that easement procured for that project.
All right, perfect. All right, we appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks, Mitch.
No problem.
All right, we're gonna move over to Craig with Public Works.
Just got a couple things to add to my report. That building over here on the elevator, the lots we bought from the elevator, we are getting, the gas has been called in to get disconnected, and so is the electricity. Once we get that, we'll be working on that building to get that out of there. And then I was contacted by a member of the executive board for the chamber. They were wondering about putting, where in the past they used to have businesses, they used to have people go to businesses and take their picture or sign up or whatever for prizes or whatever. They're wondering this year, since trying to keep people out of the businesses, if they could put signs up along the bike trail and in through the city park, and then have people take pictures there with them. And they figured it'd be about 120 signs. They do 60 signs 1 week or for a couple weeks, and do another 60. They asked if I had any problems with that as far as mowing around them. I said, as long as we put them on one side so we can mow on that other side and then just move the signs over until the next mowing. I didn't have a problem with it. I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys that they're looking at doing this. So that's all I got in my report, unless somebody's got something else for me.
Is that their Discover Hartford deal?
I believe so.
Yeah, I can speak on that behalf of that. So we're trying to do it virtually. And so this is our way of still continuing to have that creativity out there. So Craig, we appreciate you being flexible with that. But yeah, it'd be for like a week at a time. So a total of a couple weeks.
But yeah, I don't have any problem with that. That's good.
That's all I've got, so.
Okay. Any questions for Craig?
How's the road grader search?
I've kind of put that on hold until after this auction.
Okay.
We'll know here in a couple days and we'll start hitting it hard. The one that was on the auction is actually over 100,000 right now, so.
Oh, yeah.
So as soon as the auction's over, then we'll be making a decision, put a motor in ours or to see what else is out there in our budget range.
You still looking at that other item on the auction, Craig?
Yeah, actually, I've got bids in on 2 of them. And
Craig, Parks is always part of your report. You want to give your input onto the letter Jeremy read earlier now, or do you want to wait?
we can just wait until we get to that point. If that's up to you guys, so.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I figure we'll talk about that a little bit in this COVID-19 update here. All right, if nothing else, we'll move to Karen with the Finance Officer report.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have much to add unless anybody has any questions for me. Just the basic stuff.
I don't, unless anybody else does.
That's a lot of golf carts.
Yeah, there is. We've been busy with those.
$480 in revenue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, $20 a pop. They're coming in.
All right, perfect. Good report. Thank you. Thanks, Karen.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right, we'll move to Teresa with the City Administrator report.
I don't really have too much to add versus what was in the packet. Don't know if you guys have any questions on that. We did have Gabe, our new Chamber and Economic Development Director, stop in briefly today. He's in the process of his move. So he had come up here with a load of stuff already and was moving it in and heading back down to Nebraska again today. So hopefully he'll get all moved today and ready to hit the ground running on Monday. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Oh, I don't. It's a good report. Thank you. All right, we will move down to the COVID-19 update and a couple various topics we can talk about in there. A couple of them that come to mind for me, things I just want to ask about and have a little discussion on is one, those bathrooms at the park, and if we're ready to make any changes with what we have going on there. I want to give a little bit of an update on bars, breweries, and restaurants and what that looks like. I don't have to give a long update. Most of you had probably seen the communication that went out on that. And then also, I think it would be good for us to have a discussion on City Hall and what the timing is for opening back up at City Hall. I asked Teresa to talk with staff and kind of be ready to give an update on that part too. So probably start with city parks and bathrooms. And I don't mind throwing the pool in here too, if anybody's got some insight on what's going on with pools out there and what we're going to be able to safely do. Maybe it's too early, but I'm not going to shy away from that discussion quite yet either. So with that, I think we'll start with parks and bathrooms in the parks. So discussion there.
I'll just throw this out there to begin with, just so you know. On the county call on Monday, the mayor of Sioux Falls was on there, and he was saying that over the next couple of weeks, he's going to be talking with their parks department about what they're going to do with their parks, their bathrooms, and their pools. So we might see some action from them within the next week or two as far as what Sioux Falls is doing. Just my 2 cents with the restrooms. Like I said, if Craig's staff is comfortable opening them up, I think opening them up with signage would probably be, appropriate if you guys see fit to do that. Pool, I have some concerns because I'm really not sure how we can social distance at this point with the pool. And right now, just for your information, we only got 4 certified lifeguards. We have 2 other applicants on top of that, but they need to get their certification, and MB is not offering any certifications until June. So we would only have, if we would go down that road for now, only 4 possible lifeguards at this point and only 1 manager. So just some food for thought for you.
That's good. That's good information. I think, a couple of different things. It'll be interesting to see what people do with their pools around the area. I wouldn't be surprised to see, if I'm just shooting from the hip on it, people going to half occupancy or somehow limiting the number of people in there, especially if we, and maybe even limiting or just having modified hours and those kind of things. So I'm not chomping at the bit to make a decision on the pool at this meeting, but if there is some discussion, or if we need to make some decisions to push forward with more lifeguards so that we are ready in June, I'm open to all of that discussion too.
Yeah, I would encourage a conversation with Amy as the manager of that facility. She knows it much better than we do. So I would like to hear her thoughts for our next meeting. And I've supported the opening of those bathrooms since day one, and I believe that they should be opened.
We did not put a date specific on the bathrooms, did we? When we voted, when the vote was to close, there was no time frame, correct?
I believe all we said is that we'd revisit it in June, so
okay.
No time frame on it.
I'll just say, as a public comment and also as a nurse, I truly support the bathrooms being opened up again. I understand Gabby's point with little kiddos that need to use the restroom, or adults for that matter. And so I support it. I think we can put just some signage up if we feel that, I don't know if there is a concern of liability. I don't know if that's been addressed, but I guess I'm a firm believer in empowering people to be adults and to be mature. And I think we've all learned through a lot of this to be more attentive to hygiene. So I just think it would be great to have them opened up again sooner than later.
I'm going to tell you, I support all of that. I think we're in a completely different environment than what we were back when that decision was made, and I don't even know that if signage has to be put up, and if it does have to be put up, I don't think it has to be that daunting. It's a public bathroom, everybody kind of knows what they're getting into when they get into those. So yeah, I don't know. If I can prove I caught my COVID from the public park bathroom, then oh my goodness, I don't know. But anyway, I'm open if there's a motion out there for that piece of it, and I'm wondering if Craig has any more input. I don't know if I heard more from you yet, Craig.
have them all ready to go. It's just a matter of turning the water on. We're just kind of holding back to see what your guys' decision was with them, but they are ready to go, so we could have them opened up in a half a day.
I'll make a motion to open up all the city bathrooms.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I'd like that to be phrased, public outdoor restrooms. I don't think we need to open the restroom at City Hall yet.
Okay. All right, if no more discussion, we'll vote. Nelson?
Yes.
There you are. Monahan?
Yeah.
Brenneman?
Yeah.
Jones?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
And Glanzer?
Yes.
Along with that, do you want have the porta potties brought down to the sports complex?
I support that.
Yeah.
That's considered, considered city restrooms, right, Craig?
It could be and it could not be, but I think it's.
I say get them ready, get the porta potties ready.
I agree.
Those porta potties they have a soap dispenser in them, don't they, Craig?
I think we can get some with hand sanitizer, but I'm sure it's gonna be quite a bit extra.
What do you think about that, gang? I don't know, is it worth having that in there? I think it would be.
The ones I've been privileged.
I haven't been in one in the last 5 years that didn't have one. I don't know if they're extra or not.
All the ones I've seen lately have the hand sanitizer in them.
Okay, well, yeah, I'd like to effort that if at all possible. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
you will like.
I think it'd be worth it.
You need a motion for that, Mayor?
I don't think so. I think that's just good general direction for Craig. Yep. Awesome. All right. Next one I'm thinking of on here is City Hall. So talking about that, Teresa, you may have an update. I know you were going to talk with the staff a little bit and give an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, so I did talk with staff, their thoughts and feelings about opening City Hall, actually all city buildings. It's not so crucial with the shops or whatnot. The guys come in there and then they leave, go do their tasks. So that's not a big deal. But we at City Hall, I guess we're thinking maybe a little too early. We'd like to see now when stuff starts opening up again a little bit more to exactly what happens with the numbers. We feel, basically there's 3 of us running the office in the city. One of us goes down or 2 of us go down, we're not doing any city services, basically. You've lost all that. And right now we are able to handle, I don't know if there's anything we haven't been able to do remotely or online. When people do need to come into City Hall, we've let them in. We've had meetings. I mean, like I said, we've been able to do our daily business and nothing has gone undone. So at this point, I guess, we just like to hold off a little bit longer and just see how things go. We don't want to possibly, risk our staff getting sick or us taking it to those we care for too. Like Rhonda cares for her elderly parents. So, I mean, that's a big concern of hers. So, you know, things are we're just talking about starting up. So, you know, at this point, I think it'd be prudent to kind of wait and see how things go. You know, that's just our feelings. We feel things are getting done, and you know, hopefully things will continue to just go down and we can open it. But I would rather err on the side of caution and keep our staff all healthy and working versus some of us going down.
I think we leave it alone and address it in 2 weeks.
I think in 2 weeks, we're going to know quite a bit. I think what we're going to see is a lot of things starting to open up here just in the next 2 weeks, and we'll see, see what those numbers do. I all about protecting city staff if there's, especially with, you know, the specific situation you just mentioned there, Teresa, with Rhonda and her parents and some of that, and the limited number of people we have. I don't know that we'll necessarily need to have a council meeting and have a vote to open it back up. We didn't do that to close it. So I think if we get to a point over the next 2 weeks where we feel like, yeah, it's definitely time. And I think the public may, we're just going to see what's going on with that. I mean, I think that the public input on that is probably going to tell us a little bit about that as well. So I might be breaking up a little bit. I think my internet might be getting a little slower, but anyway, with that, I would just say, keep us up to date, keep talking to us, and do we have any other council members that have input on this?
Yeah, I had called and talked to Teresa and Rhonda today, and we aren't like every other business. It's a very small group of employees there. If you eliminate one of those, it's a 33% workforce reduction. So we need to be as cautious as any other business would be. And I believe the efficiency has probably gone up because you don't have people lingering in City Hall after they do their city.
All right. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like we're all kind of breaking up there a little bit. So, nope, good comments. If we got nothing else, I do want to mention, unless something major happens between now and the next meeting, I would like to get back to in-person meetings for city council and planning and zoning. I don't know if there's a way to facilitate some of that where some people are remotely and some people are in person, Teresa, if that even works out very well. But you know, I would definitely support coming back for in-person meetings for this. And unless somebody opposes it, I'm sure planning and zoning would like to get back to the same. I guess my question is Teresa and Karen, but Teresa, especially for planning and zoning, does that work out okay for you two?
I guess I don't see any issue with that.
I'm okay with that as well.
All right, so unless something major changes, we'll plan on in-person meetings later this month. So, all right, any other things on as far as city business on COVID-19? Okay, I'll just give it a quick update. Most of you are aware, most of the communities around the area are scrambling and and moving to rewrite some of their ordinances out there to support the governor's new direction with things. And they're starting to open back up. We're seeing some communities that are basing especially their bars and restaurants and all of those kind of things off of square footage or off of max occupancy or off of at least distancing their tables by 6 feet. So I think we're sitting in a really good spot as far as all of that goes. We didn't have second reading on our ordinance, so we don't have anything to pull back. And Jones and Keel and I met with most of the area restaurant and bar owners on Saturday. Basically, we're getting feedback that they wanted a little bit of guidance, and we said, hey, let's just get all of them in the same room and talk over what kinds of things, what kind of things can they put in place to make sure the public is safe. And so we printed off the Sioux Falls City ordinance that they're most likely going to pass here on Thursday night. We went through that. We went through the Rapid City one, and we also went through the governor's executive order. And so if you missed any of that out there, basically what that group, that collaboration came away with is they said, hey, we're going to make sure that we keep our tables 6 feet apart, that we limit the number of people per table, this is a pretty big table, to 10, whether they're adults or minors or anything. There was some ambiguity in some of the other ordinances about you could have as many minors as you wanted, but only a certain number of adults. We just said 10 people per table, period. And then we also put a piece in there that said if it's not possible for you to get your tables 6 feet apart, that you would limit your occupancy to 50% or less than what your posted occupancy is. All those businesses also agreed to enhanced sanitation procedures and screening of their employees for symptoms and taking appropriate action from there. And really just working to make sure that they're communicating well with the public and making sure that they're doing everything they can to keep everybody safe. So I think things went really well. They're doing a nice job of self-regulating, I guess is what I would say. So I think we're in good shape. You're going to see a couple more of them start to open up in the upcoming week, the Monday after Mother's Day and some of that. So you're going to see a little bit more happening out there. Any questions on any of that? Okay. Do we have anything else on COVID-19 at all? All right, then I'm going to jump over to my agenda here. We'll move to, sorry about that, the employee manual updates. Teresa's got that.
Okay, ask Jeremy if we could put this on the agenda. I thought this would be a good time since we have a new employee starting. But basically, our current employee manual really just is geared mostly towards hourly employees. We never had any salary employees until, about a year ago when we changed Jesse to salary. So there are just a couple of sections we thought needed updating so we can address both hourly and salary. Most of the revisions are pretty standard, but Karen helped me look through it, and we kind of just go through each one. Section 4.4 with overtime. Obviously, overtime is just geared to hourly employees. It doesn't apply to salary, so just adding the wording of hourly into that one. Section 4.6 talks about timesheets or cards. Basically, before it was just, every employee would punch a time card. Well, salary employees don't do that. We do have them do time sheets, and we had Jesse do it just so we could track the hours, basically for our work comp audits, or if we ever had to follow up with FMLA leave, it just tracks their hours for auditing purpose. So it has nothing to do with their pay. It doesn't, change their pay one way or the other. So We added the wording that each employee will either do a time, whether the hourly or salary, will do a time card or a time sheet. Section 4.7 talks about flex time. Once again, flex time is for hourly employees. Salary employees don't flex out their hours. They get paid the same amount regardless. So, you know, they just put in whatever hours needed. So flex time isn't working so much and getting working so many hours and getting so many hours off. The next couple of sections, which is kind of, maybe we'll have a little more discussion, is section 6.2 and section 6.3. And this is around vacation and sick leave. You know, right now, our employee manual, every employee, whether you're hourly or salary, gets vacation and sick leave so many hours. Where it comes kind of to be an issue is with salary employees. When does that salary employee need to draw from that bank? Because the vacation, the sick leave keep adding up for those salary employees. But if they are, you know, running to an eye appointment during the day or a dentist appointment or whatever it may be, you know, they only may take an hour here, and which is fine because then they'll make it up on the back side, you know, with the hours that they're working overtime. But if they just keep making it up and just never draw from that bank keeps building and building. And our employee manual says, you know, once they leave the city or sometimes at the end of the year, we pay out those hours to them. So at some point, and it's not really clear, I think every business does this differently, is when do we require them to draw from that bank of, you know, if you're gone for a medical reason or if you're gone for a vacation, when should you draw from that bank and actually, you know, mark that down as taking off your leave? You'll get, if your salary, you'll get paid regardless. I mean, it doesn't change that at all, but when do you draw those hours from that bank? I have suggested wording in there that, you know, if you're gone over 2 hours that isn't work related, that is specifically sick leave related or vacation related, that's when you draw from it. But that's just a suggestion. You could be 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever the council may decide. But, you know, like I said, you know, they should at some point draw from that bank versus keep building it and having that paid out to them. So we can have some discussion on that, but I just want to say, and then the very last section is section 6.15, the longevity pay. We added this, we never specifically added it to the manual. We added this through a motion to start paying off longevity pay to people a year ago. And so since we're updating our manual, I want to actually add it to the manual so it's clear for, you know, good reference for the future purposes. So I guess guys have discussion and your thoughts and feelings on these changes.
I like the changes. I think you did a nice job.
I personally,
of a ton of things. Go ahead though, Mark. I'm kind of curious, Mark, on your opinion, and Brittany on any updates, any things you can mention on salary.
yeah, so I don't know if I want to make a motion right now, but I would personally like to see this wait till we're all in person, just so I can understand better what's going on. The connection tonight is really poor, and I feel for debate and understanding an in-person meeting is more appropriate for this subject.
I get what you're saying. Others having issues with the connection, hearing, catching everything.
Yeah, mine's working really well tonight.
What's the time?
Hearing everything.
What's the time frame on getting this fixed, Teresa? Is there one? I mean, can we address this in a month and there's no harm, no foul, or?
Yeah, there's no time frame. We could definitely push this off. I just thought this would be a good time to do it, you know, right as Gabe starts, just so everything's clear with everybody from the beginning, that we're all on the same page. But, you know, we can address this in a couple weeks. There isn't no earth-shattering changes in here that's going to affect anything in the next 2 weeks.
So do we need a motion to table, or can we just have her put it on the next agenda?
I'd probably table it just so it goes on the next agenda since it was an agenda item here.
I'm going to motion to table the next meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion to table in a second. No discussion on a table.
I would like to, Mr. Mayor, before we vote, when Gabe starts on Monday, I think this ought to be brought to his attention just so when we do discuss it in a month, that he's not like, why in the world just coming up a month after I start? I think it'd be fair to tell him that it's on the table for future discussion.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna vote. Glanzer?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yes.
Brenneman? There you go. Monahan?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
All right, that looks good. Thank you. And the next item on the agenda is to discuss parking on city-owned property. I see I'm speaking on mute here, but Teresa's got information in her packet. Any discussion from the council there?
After our last conversation about this, you guys know this rubs me the wrong way because I feel that we paid retail for this piece of property. And just tonight, there's 4 pickups sitting there. There's a gooseneck flatbed trailer sitting there, and there's a fertilizer spreader sitting there. There's been 2 tractor trailers sitting there, and I believe I counted one night 13 vehicles sitting there. So, like I said, I just want an answer. So, I don't think it's right, but I'd be curious how you guys want to resolve the problem, or if you don't want to resolve the problem, then I guess we just open it up to anybody that wants to park there.
I personally don't mind too much with public parking. You know, a lot of city-owned property you'll see used as public parking, maybe overflow parking, especially for, you got just different things going on downtown. People want to park there. And obviously until we're developing it or selling it or something like that is happening there. But I don't mind that too much. I do think there's a difference between commercial parking and more of a non-commercial vehicle type parking. So I think if you limited it to vehicles, not necessarily trucks, not necessarily commercial vehicles, not for commercial use, I think there's a difference.
You said on public record, Mark, that because we paid retail this, you done with it.
I didn't hear what you said, Trent.
If we had not paid, if we had not paid retail for it, would you not have a problem with it?
I don't know. I guess I haven't thought about it. If we would have got it for 50 cents on the dollar, then I probably wouldn't have as much a problem with it as I do.
My only input is we need to be doing it for the right reasons.
My reasoning behind it is that if you look the other way because it's the elevator, then you have to look the other way when I do it. You have to look the other way when Dave Obenauer does it. And you have to look the other way when anybody else in town does it.
We've looked the other way for May Construction for a good number of years. And Sioux Valley Electric as well, when they were parking down on Railroad.
Is that parking that you're seeing down there, Mark? Is it, are you talking about overnight parking? I know some of it's obviously during the day, but is some of it overnight parking?
A lot of it's overnight.
See, and I know the purpose of that lot was not to be a parking lot. Obviously, we're gonna, try to get that for downtown development and other things, maybe even downtown beautification. So, but I'm wondering myself, many times in those kind of things, maybe limit the hours on parking. Put up a couple signs that say no parking from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., something like that. It doesn't necessarily, you talk about other city lots that have had parking on them. We've got one down there by the South Bar that's had parking on it for a long time. So we can handle each lot specifically, but I kind of wonder on that one if we want to put a time limit, no parking after such and such time.
When is Greg, when are you going to get that building off there?
The gas company thought they were a couple weeks out before they can get the gas disconnected out there in the alley. So it'll be at least 2 weeks.
Have we had any conversation with the elevator at all? Anybody, Teresa?
No, I haven't had any conversations with them about the parking.
Playing devil's advocate, the other side of this, does anybody feel like it needs to be used for parking, that there's a shortage of parking downtown?
Dog park.
Well, yeah, I think there has been events where more downtown parking would be nice. I'm thinking the farmers market or whatever. There's been times where people have parked on both sides of the road all the way down. If we could utilize that as a parking spot, or even utilize that for the downtown market instead of the street, could be an option down the road too.
There was discussion Saturday when we were meeting with the.
But I think if we just have a conversation, we'll.
Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I mean,
One thing to keep in mind is about the parking is they either got to come in on the alley off of First Street or they have to come through the elevator's driveway to get to that parking lot. There is a rolled curb on First Street, but if the farmer's market's there, you're not going to have any way in there if the elevator does not allow us to use their driveway, their approach.
There was discussion Saturday when we met with the restaurant and bar owners about using that during the farmers market. Putting more tables up there gives you a great chance to social distance more tables out there on that parking lot.
Here's what I think. I think it's been a good discussion item. I think we're a little disjointed, especially discussing this remotely. I would be interested in seeing a table on this and having some people come back with a plan on it. Craig, we'd be interested in your opinion next council meeting, but also council members, if you want to come forward with a plan for it, then let's do that, so we're not bouncing around on this idea or that idea right now.
Make a motion table to the next meeting.
I second that.
All right, we'll vote. Start it down here at Glanzer.
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yes.
Monahan?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
All right. Good deal. All right, with that, looking for a motion to go into executive session for legal and personnel.
So moved.
Second. Okay, we'll vote. Glanzer?
Yes.
Keel?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Brenneman?
Yes.
Monahan?
Yes.
And Nelson.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate it, everyone. Thanks for being here at the meeting, and we'll take a minute and
This
we'll wait a
conference will
moment.
now be recorded.
All right. If
Motion to
nothing
adjourn.
else, we are.
I'll second it.
Was that you, Arden, the first?
I was the first.
Okay, and Brittany second. Okay.
All right, Brenneman.
Yes.
And Jones.
Yes.
Monahan.
Yes.
Keel.
Yes.
Glanzer.
Yes.
And Nelson.
Yep.
I think the internet works
All right,
better
great
down in
meeting.
our end of town.